उमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So with this verse we come to the last part of this chapter. Kapila Muni giving instructions to his mother Devahuti. So he says, Yada na yoga upachitasu chetaha. Yoga upachitasu means the powers a living entity can obtain by performance of mystic yoga. There are different kinds of yoga systems, specifically the Ashtanga yoga system and many others. If a person performs them, takes up all kinds of austerities, penances related to them, he becomes very powerful. Lot of mystic powers he will be able to get. What are those mystic powers? What are those yoga upachitasu? Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the byproducts of mystic yogic power, for they can become smaller than the smallest. Anyone knows the name? Anima Siddhi. Yes. Greater than the greatest. Lagima. No. Mahima. Bigger than the biggest or greater than the greatest. Achieve anything they desire. Wait. Achieve anything they desire. Prakamya. To possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire. Or even Ishita also, to act freely, even to create something wonderful or to annihilate anything at will. So something of that sort. Okay, maybe next year it is there. Have power to even create a planet, that is Ishitva, or bring anyone they like under their subjugation. So this is Vashitva, to bring Vashikarana, something, to bring anyone under their control, under their subjugation. So all of such things are there. So those 8 siddhis are Anima, Mahima, Laghima. Laghima means to become lighter than the lightest, very light. Prapti. Prabhupada gives the example. He was said that there was like devotees were sitting in some the room, conversation were going on, and this one devotee, Shyam Sundar, maybe this happened in I think America. So they were discussing about these 8 siddhis. So the devotee asks him, so what is this prapti siddhi? So Prabhupada says, now we are sitting here, we have travelled from London, and you have, because I think he was the assistant of Prabhupada's secretary, if you have forgotten to bring something from London, you need not call them over telephone, you can extend your hand, pick up that item and bring and give it to me here in America. So this is prapti. So like that, anything from somewhere, anywhere, any object, You can go get it, and wherever you are, you'll be able to get it. Prapti Siddhi. Ishitva, whatever you desire, you'll get it. Vashitva, to bring another person under control. Prakamya, to possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire. And Kamava Sayita, change the body into whatever shape you want of your desire. So ability to change the whatever kind of body you want. So these are few of the siddhis, Ashta Siddhi we say, 8 kinds of mystic power. Now, what is Kapila Muni telling to his mother? Yada na yoga upachitasu chetaha. Chetaha, when the mind, whose mind? Mayasu siddhasya, of a siddha, of a person who has performed yoga, mystic powers, and he has become a siddha, obtained these siddhis, mystic powers. Such a person, na vishajjate anga. Vishajjate means to become attracted to become enamored by these siddhis. Yada siddhasya, when a siddha, yada siddhasya, na yoga upachitasu mayasu. And he is making it very clear. All these yoga upachita, these 8 kinds of siddhis, these are all given by Maya, creation of Maya or material energy. Yada siddhasya yogopachitasu mayasu chetaha na vishajjate. Such kind of a yogi who has obtained all of these powers by material energy, but his mind na vishajjate, is not enamored by, is not attracted by these siddhis. Then ananya hetushu atha na gati syat. Ananya hetushu atha me gati syat. Ananya hetu. Hetu means cause. The cause for his attraction is nothing but me gatihi, to come back towards me. Kapila Muni is telling he is a Supreme Lord. His mind is not attracted towards any of the other powers what he has obtained, but his mind is just attracted towards me. Atyantiki yatra na mrityu hasaha. Atyantiki means unlimited. He obtains unlimited powers, so much so that he can overcome even the power of death. Let me put in another terms. If at all a siddha who has perfected the Ashta Siddhis, he becomes attracted towards the powers what he has obtained, the Ashta Siddhis, through material energy, then he will be limited there itself. He will not elevate further. On the other hand, if a siddha is not attracted by these siddhis obtained by material energy, then what will happen to him? He will obtain such powers that even he can overcome the power of death. And such a yogi, he very quickly progresses towards in his progress towards obtaining the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the thing. Is it clear? If at all you are attracted towards some material powers, then that progress will be stopped there. If he is not attracted towards the material powers, then he will progress quickly towards the Supreme Lord, obtain so much power that he will be able to overcome the power of death also. Now, see, this is speaking about a mystic yogi, Ashtanga yogi or Dhyana yogi, different kinds of yogis. Just in the previous session also, we were discussing about a bhakti yogi. Even a bhakti yogi, he is also a yogi, involved in some mystic activities. A bhakti yogi, he wakes up early in the morning at 4 o'clock, chants 16 rounds, 2 hours he'll do japa meditation, and he'll accept only prasada, food offered to the Lord, and all of his time he engages only in the service of the Lord, no sense gratification. He follows the 4 regulative principles, and he doesn't stay with materialistic people, he stays in the association of devotees, and these are also not something ordinary. If at all he performs these things, what are the powers he will get? Does he get any power? Kapila Muni says, yes. In the purport also, Srila Prabhupada describes what are the powers he gets. Maybe before we cover that, let us speak about the external things what a devotee gets. Because this is at least something what we can see practically also. A devotee who has dedicated his life for devotional activities, and he is performing all of these things, performing sadhana, chanting and doing service, everything. Within few days, maybe within few months, he'll get a mobile phone. Another few months, maybe if he's made a preacher, he'll get one vehicle to travel. Maybe after that few days, he may get one assistant. Then he may get maybe some laptop or one cabin, office space. And it goes on. And maybe even after a few days, some head of some department, more facilities, more people will start reporting to him, more influential power, and still higher, whatever ranks, different positions he starts getting, and control over more number of people, more influence, more facilities, more powers. So this appears like Ashtasiddhis only here. If at all he becomes some departmental head, more facility, more social recognition, more power, influence, it appears as if like Mahima Siddhi, greater than the greatest, bigger than the biggest, big devotee, big facility, some Mahima Siddhi. Or other facilities, just like when devotees make comparison also, we see how my junior devotee, he has got some many facilities, and I should also work hard, prove myself, I should also get that facility, because he has some desire. It's all like trying to obtain some prakamya siddhi. I have got some desire. Okay, if I do this, if I can obtain this, achieve this, I'll be given these facilities. Or maybe some devotee who has joined along with me, maybe he's there in some other temple, some big temple, big facilities, he's traveling in aeroplane, big facilities are there, and we hear small temple, Facilities are all limited here. Growth is also very slow. Start comparing. If I would have been there, I would have got this position, these facilities, all this comparison. Or sometimes this also. Vashitva, like there are some other devotees who are very talented, intelligent, and whatever they say, authorities will listen to them. Whatever I say, nobody will pay any heed for that. Something he goes and tells, immediately it will be sanctioned, immediately it will be done. If I say something, no weightage for that. Something like Vashitva Siddhi. The devotee, some Vashikarana he has done, Vashitva, whatever he says it will happen. So, if we make a comparison like this, it almost appears like perform some yoga and obtain these Ashtasiddhis. This is what we see practically. More than 90% of the so-called yogis, even till today, if we go to Himalayas and many other places in the north, so many kinds of varieties of whatever people practicing yoga, yogis, perfected their lives, some siddhis and all, they are all attracted towards such kinds of mystic powers, which are all material, nothing to do with spiritual. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, yogis who have incomplete information of the result of devotional service are attracted by these powers, but these powers are material, they have nothing to do with spiritual progress. So yogis who are not aware of the result of pure devotional service, they become attracted to such Ashtasiddhis, varieties of yogic mystic perfections. But all of them are material, nothing to do with spiritual progress. Same thing applies even for devotees. If at all we are enamored, attracted towards some material facilities, some material power, some position, some influential powers, all of these things, these are all material, nothing it has got to do with spiritual progress. Just like the famous story which Srila Prabhupada says about the yogi who walked on the water. There was a man in a village. One day he disappeared, not to be seen. And after maybe 10 or 20 years, he comes back to that village. And all the village people, they gather around him. He came back with a big beard, with some yogi sadhu attire, big matted hairs, and looked something very different. And all the people, they gathered around him and they asked him, "Oh, so many years, where were you? What were you doing?" So he says, "I had been to Himalayas, I had practiced different kinds of yoga, siddhi, all of these things, and I have obtained a lot of siddhis, mystic powers." "Oh, what power have you got? We would like to see." "Okay, then go to the village, bring all the people to the banks of the river flowing here. Tomorrow morning, in front of everyone, I'll display my mystic power, what I have obtained. After all of the 10 years of austerities, mystic power I have obtained, and I'll display in front of all of you." So everyone were very enthusiastic to see that. They wanted to see, they become so they called everyone. The next day, the time was, the yogi came, and all the people in the village had gathered there, and in front of all of them, he started walking bare feet on the water. He crossed over, went for like whatever, some distance he went, and again walking on the water, he came back without drowning in the water. And all the people gathered there, they were very wonderstruck. They started clapping their hands, making sound, and oh, wonderful thing! He is able to walk on water. And so one person, one elderly gentleman there, so he came and starts confronting him. Is this what you have learned after going to the Himalayas, practicing all kinds of austerities, yoga, everything, so much austerities, tapasya? Is this what you have learned after 10 years? Yes. He says, whatever you have learned, the value of this, whatever you have learned, is just 50 paisa. If I can give 50 paisa to the boatman here, he'll take me, cross the river and bring me back here. You have gone to Himalayas, 10 years you have spent, lot of austerities you have done, and is this what you have learned? The value is just 50 paisa. So, we should be aware of this. Very, very instructive. Many years we may be spending, lot of activities, hard work we may be involved in, lot of tapasya, austerities we would have taken up. If all of these things are not helping us advance in our spiritual life, if we just become attracted towards some material powers, what are obtained, then what will happen? It will be like that 50 paisa what we have got. The time what we have spent, the austerities, the hard work what we have done, we could have obtained something bigger, something greater. On the other hand, we may just have to be satisfied with that, some 50 paisa worth, some material powers, that's it. So the Bhagavatam says, all the hard work what you do, if it doesn't give rise to attraction towards hearing the messages of the Lord, then all such activities are nothing but useless labor. Which is that verse? Yes. Dharmasvanashtitasya pumsaha vishvaksena kathasuyah na utpadayed yadiratim shrama evahi kevalam. Dharmasvanashtitasya, all kinds of dharma, all kinds of whatever religious activities you may be performing, but through all of them, if you do not develop attraction towards hearing the message of the Lord, Vasudeva Katha Ruchi, if you don't get, then all such hard work is Shrama Evahi Kevalam. It is only useless labor. So as devotees, we should be very much aware of this, not being carried away by some material powers, positions and facilities, which of course as a byproduct, it may come along in the path of our spiritual life. If it comes, well and good, use it for the service of Krishna. If it doesn't come, no issues, no worry, go ahead in our spiritual whatever activities in developing attraction towards the Supreme Lord. So, now if we speak about these things, if at all a devotee, as we saw, he is performing all of these things, getting up early in the morning, chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, sadhana, his service, and all of these things very nicely is performing. It is said, yes, even he will get some special. But still, a devotee is not attracted by those things. Just like we see the examples of, just like here Prabhupada says, a perfect yogi's mind is not attracted by any material power, but is simply attracted by unalloyed service to the Supreme Lord. We find in the examples of, just like Kapila Muni, his own father Kardama Muni, he was also a very great mystic yogi, such a great yogi that he could construct or create a floating mansion, and he was able to take his wife Devahuti to different parts of the universe. But after he begot a son, as he had told his wife earlier, that I'll be there with you till you beget a son, but after that I will leave you and go. So likewise, even such great yogi like Kardama Muni, he left and he went ahead for his spiritual progress. We find in the case of Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, very famous example, all kinds of material facilities he had. Son of a very rich father, big zamindar, lakhs of whatever worth income they had during those times, and many servants at his beck and call. Still, he left all those, came to Jagannath Puri, and such austere life he led there, and through all of his activities he was able to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also we find in the example of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how even he was a son of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, son of a magistrate and highly educated. But when he approached his spiritual master Gaur Kishore Das Babaji for initiation, he did not agree. Even after repeated requests, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji did not agree to accept him. And at one point of time he felt, what is the use of my life if I don't get shelter under a pure devotee? Let me give up my life. So this was what he considered. All his erudite scholarship, whatever opulence, education, everything he considered useless if he did not get shelter of a pure devotee. So this is how a devotee considers what he gives value for, what he considers as primary, and what he thinks something secondary. So we should be aware of this. There's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita wherein it says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Eva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. There are different categories of people: Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi. There are many karmis who are engaged in varieties of material activities. They may also perform lot of religious, ritualistic activities, but all of their intention is to get some material benefit. They are known, that is bhukti, more material facilities so that I can enjoy more. Or mukti, there are different jnanis who want to become entangled from this material world and go and merge in the existence of the Lord. And there are siddhi kami, what we are discussing now, varieties of yogis, and they are attracted towards obtaining some siddhis, ashta siddhis. But all of them are ashanta, they are not peaceful, they are not satisfied. How much ever they may obtain this, they will never be satisfied. Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, Sakali, Ashanta, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Eva Shanta. It is only the devotee of the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna, who is Shanta, who is peaceful, who is satisfied. Why? Why? Because he is Nishkama. He has got no material desire. His only desire is to serve the Supreme Lord and to satisfy the Supreme Lord. That's why he is fully peaceful, fully satisfied. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Eva Shanta. Though a devotee is Shanta, satisfied, peaceful with whatever service he has rendered to the Supreme Lord, in return to that, doesn't he get something? Prabhupada says in the purport, yes, a devotee gets. Devotee also gets many powers. Let us see what are the powers which a sincere devotee of the Lord gets. Actually, Prabhupada, what he mentions in the purport is nothing but the explanation of the verse from Chaitanya Chandramrita written by Prabodhananda Saraswati, wherein he says, Kaivalyam narakayate tridashapur akasha pushpayate durdantendriya kala sarpa patali prothkhata damshtrayate vishvam purna sukhayate vidhi mahendradishcha kitayate yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam Gaurameva Stumaha. So here he summarizes what are the maybe if we say siddhi or power or something which a devotee obtains by performance of his sincere devotional service. As we discussed, a devotee, sincere devotee, is chanting his 16 rounds, getting up early in the morning, attending sadhana, performing his services, following 4 regulative principles, staying in the association of devotees. What is the benefit he gets? These are the things. For him, Kaivalyam narakayate. Such a devotee considers Kaivalya or liberation from this material world and merging into the existence of God, narakayate, not at all interested in that. Because by performing devotional service, he is getting much higher kind of happiness. And then Tridashapur Akasha Pushpayate. Tridashapur, maybe if at all he is promised, okay, if you perform this, you will go to Svargaloka and all, upper higher planetary systems. He is not at all interested. It's just like for a devotee, someone comes and gives, say, one cinema ticket, new released film, some Bollywood film, movie, something, free ticket I have given you, take this. A devotee is not at all interested in that. It's something waste for him. He's not at all interested. Likewise, going to some Svargaloka, some higher kind of material happinesses and all, he's not at all interested in that. And then Durdantendriya Kala Sarpa Patali Prothkhata Damshtrayate. Kala Sarpa, a snake which everyone fears. Which is the snake which is referred to here? Uncontrolled senses. Uncontrolled senses. But for a devotee who is sincerely performing devotional activities, these uncontrolled senses becomes very easy for him to control. Just like a Kala Sarpa snake whose fangs are removed, poisonous teeth is removed. Then the snake is no longer dangerous, no need to fear. So likewise, such uncontrolled senses becomes easier for a devotee to control. And then Vidhi Mahendradishcha Kitayate. Vidhi means Brahma. If a devotee is promised, okay, next life you will be given the position of Brahma, he is not at all interested. Kitayate. Kita means some worm, some insect. The the position of Brahma or Lord Shiva or whatever, a devotee is no longer interested in those. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Even this material world, Purna Sukhayate, it appears to be a happy place to live. It just contradicts what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. But for a devotee who is sincerely practicing devotional service, for him, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Happily, wherever he goes back to Godhead, he is happy there. Still, the Lord, He wants him to continue his journey, practice of devotional service in the material world. Still, no issues. Happily, he performs devotional service in this material world also. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. So, all of these things happen. Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavatam Gaurameva Stumaha. If at all he has rendered sincere devotional service at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the position of a devotee. He is no longer interested in any kinds of siddhis, material powers, mystic powers and all of those things. He is just focused towards his progress, going nearer towards the Supreme Lord and performance of sincere devotional service. So we'll end with this. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.